Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about what I expect to see happen here in the Airdrie real estate market here in 2023, and we're going to talk about where I think we're headed with prices, sales, and the overall flow of the market throughout the year. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's just get started. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, first off, thank you. I really appreciate all the support. And second off, you might have remembered we did a 2022 prediction video last year. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare some of the predictions that I had for 2022 to what actually happened and then make our prediction for this upcoming year. All right, well, first off, let's start with our sales here in Airdrie. And if you didn't see the 2022 year in review video that we put out just a few days ago on the channel, first go back and watch that one and then come back to this video to watch our predictions. All right, so if you watched our 2022 review video, you saw that we had 2,469 sales within the year here in Airdrie. So let's take a look back at what I predicted we were going to see within the year last year. My prediction for sales next year in 2022 is that we're going to have about 2,500 sales here in Airdrie next year. Well, it looks like that 2,500 number that I predicted ended up being quite close to what we actually saw within the year, and it ended up being a new all-time sales record for Airdrie. So now, coming off a year with such high sales and big records set, do I expect that we're going to see even more sales in 2023? No, I don't. I think we're going to taper back a bit with our sales. I actually think we're going to end up about 20% less sales in 2023. So I'm going to predict that for this year, we're going to be looking at about 2,000 sales within Airdrie this year. One of the main reasons that I'm saying less sales are going to happen is that last year, during the craziness of the spring market, we had so many people who were just waiting on the sidelines to list their home when the right time came, and that right time came. So everybody hopped on the bandwagon, sold their properties. A lot of people who were holding rental properties in Airdrie that didn't really want them were able to jump in the market then, sell their property, and not actually have to buy another property because it was a rental for them. So we had a lot of that going on last spring. Now, all of those sellers have been weeded out throughout the year in 2022. That there's not really a whole lot of on the fence sellers waiting for the right time anymore. Now this year we're going to be looking at new listings of sellers who are truly just making a move. So my lower sales prediction for 2023 isn't really a reflection of lower demand, but more a reflection of lower supply that we're going to see throughout the year. All right, now moving on to my prediction of the flow of the market throughout the year. And what I mean by that is just what the activity levels are going to be throughout the year at different times. Now, if you remember last year, what we saw is basically as soon as January hit, we were going crazy. The prices were going straight up. Demand was insane. There wasn't enough listings, all of that, and it started right in January, and our busiest months really were January to April, and then things started to taper off. So I'm not expecting that type of situation this year. I think we're going to get back closer to what we usually expect from a seasonal market standpoint here in Airdrie, where we're going to start the year off a little bit slower and slowly ramp up until springtime, where we'll have a bit of that spring busy season before we taper off into summer. But I am expecting that our spring season is going to hit still a little bit earlier than you'd expect, and we might be really busy from the March to May or March to June timeframe. And as we start to ramp up in spring, I think things are going to get fairly tight again in the market. We are going to see new listings come on the market as we always do in springtime, but there's not going to be as many as last year. But with not only our local demand here, but also our interprovincial demand of people moving into Alberta from other provinces in Canada, I think we're going to see that demand really tighten the market through those months. And then for the rest of the year, from about that June to July onward, I think we're going to see a similar situation that we saw this year, where things start to taper off a bit. We get into more of a balanced market feel for probably the remainder of the rest of the year. So all in all, from a flow of the market standpoint, I think we're really going to get closer to that typical seasonal real estate market that we've come to expect here in Alberta. All right, now onto the big one, the one you've probably been waiting for, and that is the price prediction for 2023 here in Airdrie. So let's first take a look back to last year and what I expected to see for prices in 2022. I think we're set up to see another 15% price increase in 2022 for our detached and semi-detached markets, and I think the row homes might lag behind just a little bit, so I'm predicting a 12% increase for prices on those townhouses, those row homes for 2022. All right, so I predicted a 15% increase for detached and semi-detached homes and a 12% increase for those townhomes here in Airdrie for 2022. The accuracy of these really depends on at what point during the year you look at our year-over-year price change, because if we look at our peak prices in the spring, our detached and semi-detached homes were both up over 30% year-over-year, and our townhomes were peaked out at about 23% increase year-over-year. But if we look at where they were at the end of the year, our detached homes were up about 14% year-over-year, semi-detached were up about 12% year-over-year, and the row homes, townhomes were up about 21% year-over-year. So that one really depends on where you're looking at that stat. Overall, prices went up quite a lot. They went up even more in the spring and then tapered off towards the end of the year. So we know I'm predicting a lower sales number for this year. I'm predicting a more typical seasonal market here in 2023. So that must mean that I'm going to predict lower prices in 2023 as well, right? Not quite. I don't think that's going to be the case, and the reason why is back to our supply, our new listings that we're going to have come on the market here in 2023 being lower than we'd need for supply. So for prices, what I'm expecting to see happen is similar to 2022, but on way less of a scale. So for right now, what we have been seeing is prices have been moving just a tiny bit down each month, and I think this year, moving into the spring, we're going to see our prices tick back up just a little bit as the market tightens up again, maybe 5-6% up throughout those spring months. And then I think we're going to see towards the last half of the year, again, the market fading off a little bit, balancing out, and coming back down to where we end the year off with maybe increase of 3 or 4% as an average across all the home styles. So I do think we're going to see some price increases this year, but I don't think it's going to be even remotely close to what we saw in 2022. But as you know, these are just predictions. No one has a crystal ball. I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen, but we can all have our opinions. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Type out what you think is going to happen, whether you agree, disagree. I'm open to have a conversation about what you think might be going on in our market this year and beyond. So I'd love to hear from you. Type in those comments below, and if you are making a move here to Airdrie, you might want to check out this video over here of the pros and cons of living in our city, and we'll see you on the next video.